Okay. No.
Even though sometimes I hate the people and I hate my subject.
Calippo every time. I love a lolly.
What type of drink would your course be at a bar?
Either like a glass of water or like champagne. Like there's gonna be no in between.
The Central Cup in Ring of Fire is probably what MML is, I feel.
Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17?
Yes.
Would you? Why? Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'd pick it again if there wasn't a pandemic in it. I just think I wouldn't do pandemic uni. That was not good.
It was a mistake. Was it a good time? Was it?
Yeah. Oh, it was a great time.
It was a good time.
I mean, I've realised in coming to Cambridge and meeting people who went to different schools that actually there was lots of things that happened there that were quite weird.
Probably peanut butter with chocolate chips in it, and then like something gooey as well to hold it together. I want different textures, I want different flavours, I want crunch, I want sweet, maybe a bit of salt.
The only thing that gets me is why did I just sit exams on all of first and second year at the end of second year? That wasn't good.
I thought, well, I hate physics. What else do I like? And I'd met a bunch of linguists through different reasons, and they had all been telling me about their courses. And because I'd done linguistics in my EPQ, I thought, oh, well, if I hate physics, but linguistics sounds really cool.
The history course here has its flaws, which is why they're changing it. Literally for the next...
Watered down champagne, maybe?
Yeah.
A whole world in your mouth.
A concoction, yeah.
A concoction, lovely.
Better than something else, never mind.
I'm keeping that in, just so you know.
And I managed to convince not only my DOS, but the DOS of linguistics at King's and my tutor that swapping to linguistics would be a good idea.
Mill Pond?
Yeah, like Mill Pond, Fen Causeway, that bit
Yeah.
is an amazing place. I think it like looks like you're in a fairy tale. And also, if you continue walking that way to Grantchester, that little walk along the river is insane again. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And Grantchester, just everywhere by the river where there's the cows and all the grass is amazing in spring and summer, I'd say.
Something like an Aperol Spritz, because people who order an Aperol Spritz think they're really quirky, but like it's actually like a really basic cocktail. Like everyone does it.
This is reflecting really badly on you, Caitlin.
And it will be so much better.
I've just decided I want to learn Latin now.
You know what? I'm a sucker for like a really good vanilla, which is kind of boring.
Okay.
Although if I swap modules within natural sciences, rocks, because they rock.
If you could take a different course, which one would you pick?
HSBS. Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I basically do that already, but it seems like you guys get more in depth for certain things, so I definitely do HSBS or MML. Those are my two choices.
In my first term at Cambridge, I did 2 degrees.
I'm not completely sure about the validity of the idea that King's is the highest, but among the highest state school acceptance rates. It certainly has a great many.
Yeah.
And I think that does mean that the atmosphere here is quite welcoming. Yeah.
At Christmas, on Boxing Day, I realised that I might have made the wrong decision and that I actually do like physics. Might have been a bit drunk, but I had to email my DOS and say, is there any chance I could possibly swap back to physics?
What kind of school did you go to?
A state school that really, really badly wanted to be a private school.
Definitely sticking to a humanities subject.
Yeah.
MML for the year abroad, I'd say.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that there's not more of that around.
Yes, we don't get year abroads.
No,
Remember that.
Probably one of these cocktails that's got all sorts of things in. It's probably kind of someone's just bought loads of drinks and poured them into one massive jug in the middle.
So we're talking the Central Cup in Ring of Fire.
The Central Cup in Ring of Fire is probably what MML is.
When you're 17, you're so like impressionable and especially like committed to the idea of like trying to prove yourself and stuff. Especially when you like really love a subject because the entirety of that subject is like related to like teachers and school, and so then like praise is such a large part of it. And so because of that, I think I would still go for Oxbridge because I mean it is a good place to learn math because it's good at math and I love doing math.
I want you to know that Maddie, who also does history, said old-fashioned.
Really? I love that.
If you could take a different course, which one would it be?
I honestly don't think there's any other course I could do. I'm like extremely specialised at this point. Like I'm not versatile as a human being.
Oh, Little St Mary's Churchyard. It's over the road from Pembroke and adjacent to Peterhouse. It's a neatly overgrown churchyard. It has a lovely cat that frequents the area. and it's a peaceful, quiet place to sit and read or write and relax all year round, to be honest. Even in the winter, it's quite a magical place.
What type of drink would your course be at a bar?
That's such a good question.
I mean, like, constantly in my degree, I don't have enough time to like really go into the things I love. And I feel like if I went to like a slightly less high intensity university, then I would have time to do all those things.
A lot of people come to natural sciences thinking they're going to go down, say, the chemistry or the physics route, or then they'll come here and they'll find that actually there's subjects that they find a lot more interesting.
Honestly, if I did what I loved, I would have gone into like video game design and stuff, which is just like completely not engineering.
So not at
But
Cambridge either.
Not at Cambridge either. So I would have been like on a completely different path.
Well.
But yeah, whoa.
That could be you. You've heard it here first, folks. The only change to modern day has been the introduction of voice.
When I applied thinking I wouldn't get in, and I was just doing it to appease my teacher who wanted me to apply. And then when I got in, I was just like, well, I kind of have to say yes, don't I? And I love it and it's great, but I think people should genuinely think about whether it's for them or not. You're going to have to work quite hard, quite a lot. It can be a culture shock. Quite a bit. It's great and it's really rewarding, but you have to consider, like, is that going to be okay for your mental health? Is that going to be okay? Is that the kind of experience you want for uni? Or do you want an experience where it's like 50% work, 50% play? Because I wouldn't say that that's what it is here.
Favourite spot in Cambridge? Go.
Oh, I was literally having this conversation the other day, and I think it's the little road by kind of Clare Gate, if you're looking at King's Chapel.
Right.
I think that view is like beautiful.
You know, like everyone, I have good and bad memories of high school. Definitely room for improvement.
And the other day, Alex also made the wonderful statement that nothing in that area has changed except the fact that there's now like 3 voies there. So if you just transported like a monk from the 1300s to that spot, he'd be like, whoa, nothing's changed. What is that?
And finally, possibly most important question.
Okay.
Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17?
I'd think more about it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Provided that I would meet the same people, the same circumstances would be unchanged. Yeah, and yes, I certainly would. I mean, I wouldn't dream of any alternative pathway in life than the one I've experienced.
It was a Catholic school. It was not quite the best. We had 1 or 2 Oxbridge applicants a year and not many people got in.
If you could take a different course, which one would you pick?
Well, I actually have already taken a different course once.
Uh-huh.
I think I probably ultimately would, but I would also think about not going to university at all.
Oh, why is that?
Yeah, I feel like doing like something practical, apprenticeshipy. If you know what you want to do, you might as well just not go to university.
We're literally just here to lay about on the lawn and look pretty. It's just always really nice because like this place was just Fenland before.
Yeah, exactly.
And the little patches of Fenland that are left are just so gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
In my first year, in first term, there's this thing at Cambridge called the Week 5 Blues, where like halfway through term, everyone starts to get a bit worn out and a bit just down in the dumps. And in my first year, my first term, during that week, I decided that I hated physics. And so
We've all been there.
Don't just be like, oh, I got in, or even applying like, oh, it's Cambridge or oh, it's Oxbridge. I should definitely apply. Like, think about whether it's really the place for you, because that's what shapes your experience. Like, we're all such individuals, and it really depends where we want to go.
If I was going to pick a different course, I wouldn't do a STEM subject because I hate all the other STEM subjects. I wouldn't do MML just because, I don't know, it sounds like a bit of a struggle.
So at my school, there was once an incident where a guy was climbing up one of those green fences on the football pitch to go get a football that had gone over, and one of the members of staff on duty told him to get down. And so he jumped down, but what he hadn't realised when he jumped down was he was wearing a ring on his finger, and it got caught on top of the fence as he jumped off.
It's also not fun getting COVID before said end of 2 years exams.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
That was
I had
literally a few
COVID.
weeks ago.
Yeah, that was rough. Don't do that. Do you know what? Walking up here, I'm still like out of breath going upstairs.
But I love where I'm from, and I'm definitely proud of where I'm from. As a lot of people say from Blackpool, and probably from a lot of equal areas, it's a shithole, but my shithole.
My school had pretty much, it was the only one that I was in the catchment area for. And our catchment area, I've been told, for my school, is now the largest in the UK. Because we live really rurally, so it has to reach also like to the people off in the hills at a distance. So it pretty much covers like half of the county, which is quite a large county.
I wouldn't do English, it's just a bit too pretentious.
I'm an English student.
And it pulled off the whole top of his finger, which was just left.
No!
Yeah.
No.
Sat on the fence.
One of my first papers I did in first year was like really early medieval British Isles,
Yeah.
and I, for some reason, I mean, I love languages in general, and so I was really interested in thinking about the languages these people spoke so long ago.
I think history students get a week per essay, whereas history, politics, and HSPS for you is 5 or 6 days. So that extra day would be, that's godsend.
Has a really cool view of Cambridge, and you can see sunsets there because there are literally no other raised points in Cambridge.
Yeah, and confusingly, Castle Mound does not have a castle on it.
It did once. It was the motte of a Motte and Bailey castle. For those Year 8 history fans.
You get a lot more freedom in third year, and the courses are so much more interesting.
That's good.
That you'd actually feels like this is what you signed up for.
And I got really interested in Welsh because Welsh, like, really has changed very little since the 6th century. And so, yeah, I sort of just got into learning Welsh and really, really loved it. And then when I saw it in ASNAC, like, you could just learn Old Welsh, learn Old English, and that's kooky, and I love that, you know?
Honestly, you're making this sound very good. I kind of want to do ASNAC now.
Plus, I hate politicians, so that's a no-go.
Yeah, that's reasonable, yeah.
Oh, that is a brilliant question. Favourite spot in Cambridge would be...
It's just got like a really pretty view of the chapel, and there's the river, and most importantly, I often think it's the best place to see the king's cows.
Crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do also get to see goslings and stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'd probably do a funky, like, multidiscipline subject, like architecture.
It was because I know other people who say had done like natural sciences and maths who were trying to swap to courses like philosophy. And they I think they had to do like an interview for it.
Yeah.
But they weren't allowed in. But for some reason they let me go from natural sciences to linguistics.
As much as so much of it sucks, and it really does just suck, I think the people that you meet here are kind of irreplaceable.
Favourite spot in Cambridge? Go.
The graveyard by...
I mean, they don't whitewash it, definitely. They do want to give you different aspects of looking at history and politics. But obviously, I mean, it's Cambridge, it's a posh course, but they do try and make it woke.
The ice cream van bit.
Yeah. Like if you were at an ice cream van.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant which type of ice cream van.
No, that not type of ice cream van. If I could choose, I would have an entirely Jack's Gelato ice cream van, but I don't think that's an option.
Yeah, yes, agreed.
It's not basic, I don't think. And a Jaeger bomb is kind of basic. So I was trying to think of a different one. But yeah, it's fun. Everyone comes into it from the same sort of background, which is no background.
I saw a CamFest, which is a Facebook posting page for people to post anonymously about Cambridge life. And they said, yes, I sound posh, but I'm still a northerner. So sometimes people can be northern, they sound like a Londoner though.
Yeah.
Or they could be Scottish but have a London accent, but still have Scottish or northern pride. So it's sometimes hard for me to tell who is a northerner technically, and maybe what defines a northerner.
I feel the same about HSPS.
Yeah. I mean, there's not one happy thing I've studied yet.
Yeah, definitely history.
So why not pick HML?
I couldn't decide between French and German. And with HML, you can only do one, and I didn't want to upset my French teachers and German teachers respectively. So.
Oh no.
And I've made so many amazing memories and friends, and it's fun. I love it. It's great. I love Cambridge.
The pandemic.
Do you remember that whole thing? The pandemic Lovato? You may remember.
You can definitely get out your window as well.
I know.
I've done it from your window.
But that's the thing, that there's now like a lock on it, but I'm thinking, if I have actually investigated this situation, if I get a screwdriver...
I think a Jaeger bomb.
I'm not sort of quizzing you deeply about your degree choice. We were all here now.
We've all questioned our degree.
I didn't even in the first place. It wasn't my decision almost. It was my mum pushing me to do it. I was afraid to. I would also be afraid to in an alternate universe. But I'm very glad that I did go along with the flow. When you get here, you do realise that you can make your own little world here, and you make it fit you. It's not like you have to fit into Cambridge. You make Cambridge your own bitch.
Sometimes I think simple is better when there's honeycomb on the menu.
Yeah.
I can't look past. I struggle to look past it. My fatal flaw is not being able to look past honeycomb flavour ice cream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming from there to Cambridge, what is interesting is kind of realising that I don't know, everyone's working as hard as you, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a shock.
And the fact that like everyone here is so... Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17? Her face says no.
To know what it was, I would do Asnac. Just
Oh.
like, why not? Like, Anglo-Saxon, Norse, and Celtic, I'm like, you need interrogating. Like, who is
What is
this?
going on
Yeah.
there? Like-
What's your baggage? Yeah.
I didn't want to revise, so I just decided like right now is the time to read my backlog of Tolstoy.
I don't know, because everyone's quite social. No one takes themselves too seriously.
I follow Maddie on Storygraph, and every other day there's another like random
Follow
textbook.
me?
Yeah.
Oh no.
A flat Coke.
Okay.
Maybe like approaching room temperature.
Okay.
It's been sitting there.
It's like the thing you would have last at the party.
Yeah, you're drinking it. You don't really want to be drinking it,
But you just are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In general, it's always very nice to hear a northern accent. That bit of home with you here.
Yeah.
I can tell you my least favourite spot in Cambridge. The staircase bathrooms.
Why is that? Why is that, Maddie?
My bathroom's in a basement. It's commonly referred to as the piss dungeon.
Probably Pessoa and lemonade.
Why?
Because I like that drink.
And we get so much practice to write essays. Like, although it's a bit cursed doing one a week, I really appreciate that the history course has that like weekly structure. I found that helpful.
Now, I'm always an advocate for Milk and Malibu, but I don't think engineering quite reaches that status.
I feel like a Mr. Whippy sometimes it really hits where you need it to hit.
There's this place in Cambridge called the Backs, which is basically where like the behinds of all the main character colleges are. And if you keep on going past there, there's these massive fields that go all the way around like half of Cambridge. And they're between here and the massive ring road that goes around Cambridge. And they are very nice. They're filled with like all sorts of flowers, like wildflowers and things.
But yeah, grammar school was very lucky to live close to one. Having the support I had was, a big thing. I've been privileged to be in that position.
Ultimately, what's going to make you feel at home is friends, which can be anyone. That's cheesy, but there you go. Oh.
So I'm sure many people are aware there's a running joke about Caledonian being all that geography is about. Thankfully, a few of my friends have expressed that same view.
If you could take a different course, which one would you pick?
Maybe English or art history or something.
Why?
Because you basically do bits of those in classics.
So you're saying that Northerner is not an act, it is a mindset.
Jesus, that's deep. Hell yeah.
I feel like it would be funny to say old-fashioned since I do history.
A tea-stained old-fashioned.
My experience of my course, I think my drink would be a nice like Aperol spritz. Something to be like enjoyed by the river and like something that you can really take your time over and that's like quite complex.
Something orange.
Oh, it's got to be Grantchester, hasn't it? Grantchester, runs in Grantchester, punting in Grantchester, barbecues in Grantchester, swimming in Grantchester. Grantchester.
Right. What kind of school did you go to?
Okay, I went to the super weird music school. There were 80 people there between the ages of 9 and 19. You had to like audition to get in. It was a private school, but like all of the fees were kind of means tested. So basically most people aren't on significant fees unless you're earning like insane amounts. So I was like there for free on a full bursary from the Scottish government. It was a boarding school, which was interesting. But yeah, no, strange schooling experience.
But you only went there when you were 16, right?
When I was
15.
13?
13?
Yeah.
My whole life has been a lie. I was really right on the edge of choosing Manchester instead. Yeah. But in my heart, I was like, oh, but it's Cambridge.
Yeah. Literally, like, I send like my essays to people and they're like, why are you writing about penises? Why are you analysing penis?
Let's not forget Fanny Hill, Memoirs of a Woman of Pleasure.
Yes, exactly. The first erotic novel published in the 1700s.
I had that moment in first term where
Exactly.
I was like, I'm not the best.
What do you mean?
I love a raspberry ripple. I just adore a raspberry ripple. And I mean, if it's a raspberry ripple with a flake in it, even better. So yeah, that's what dreams are made of.
And the problem is you can't get away from people if you start a fight with them. There's not many of us here.
Yeah, it's quite a closed off environment, so you best just get on with people.
Best just be friends. At the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of aspects of Cambridge that are really not set up for most people. Yeah. What type of drink would your course be in a bar?
A porn-style martini because it's all about sex.
There's this new type of beer, which is basically the same thing as like a Guinness. They're called like nitro blends or something, and they're kind of like fizzy, coffee-like dark beers. I think it'd be something like that.
Oh no.
Oh, I love Guinness, by the way. So I
Ava is an avid runner, which shocks and appalls me.
Once my exams finished, I did have a little bit of a... This was yesterday.
What's your ice cream van pick?
It depends on how hot it is. If it's like 35 degrees baking, Calippo every time. I love a lolly. But any other time, I'd probably go for like a Magnum, like a dark chocolate Magnum. I nearly went to Canada, so yeah.
Nearly went to Canada?
Yeah, I had a place at UBC. Wow. But then it was COVID, so I couldn't go. But I love it here.
I can do my Jack's Gelato pick.
I need an ice cream van pick.
Ice cream van.
A specific energy.
Is it a specific ice cream van?
No.
Probably just a 99 flake.
I went to a private school for my schooling in England. Awful place. Yeah. Not fun. No. Would not do again.
If you could take a different course, which one would you pick?
History.
History.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, that's kind of quite a common question that people ask, because I think it's kind of halfway through the degrees, people think, why did I choose this?
What's this all for?
So everyone has this existential crisis of like, well, what would I be doing in an alternate universe?
It is a meme in our friendship group that Lola was choosing Cambridge as her backup choice because of the pandemic and for no other reason.
But I think it was a good choice and I would come again.
I'd be bored and go vanilla, basic, but if there was like a fruity sorbet, if it was a fancy ice cream one, then I'd go sorbet. But if it was like a Mr. Whippy, then I'd go Whippy, double, 2 flakes, raspberry sauce, sherbet.
Oh, sherbet on top. Yeah. Oh no, the impression I'm giving of everyone's courses so far is just don't do them. So, but definitely essay based.
Essay based, absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, definitely.
We're not STEM kids. Can you summarise the current history course for us?
Teaching, incredible. Being made to do pre-1750, kind of hate it, but it has made me appreciate modern history more. And I know people who are the opposite of me.
Really early medieval British Isle.
Who then had to do like a modern paper. It made them appreciate the weird medieval stuff more.
It's strange going from top of the class to decidedly average.
That is what I'm trying to say for not being... Yes.
I love this question, it's my favourite one.
And the vodka is a kind of sobering side of it. Geography is actually quite a depressing subject.
It's a learning curve, but it's definitely a better learning curve because you're never like everyone. There's always going to be someone better and always going to be someone worse than you, and that's just life.
HSPS, probably that would be first on the list. It's sort of geography about all the nonsense associated with space.
I also just noticed your fantastic socks.
Oh yes, absolutely. My Nefertiti socks.
Those are incredible.
99 flake, 99.
Yeah. Any reason why?
I mean, it's just a classic. Yes. You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. And you like the classics. What's your ice cream van pick?
My what?
Places like Bodley's Court in Kings, or say like the Fens, even like the Backs at times just get so busy with tourists coming by. And especially with students as well. It sometimes just feels like there's loads going on in Cambridge, and if you want to chill, you can't really do that.
An all-girls school. I think that was the most defining thing about it for me. Quite a feminist school.
Was it all girls in a good or a bad way?
I'd say in a good way. Like the stereotypes about catty infighting, I don't think are true.
Okay, it's a bit cliche. Like when you're rowing on the Cam and it's like clear water, either sunrise or sunset. It's so pretty.
Whippy van.
Mr. Whippy van. I would guess what the funky Smarty ones. I'm not sure if they exist anymore.
Yeah, the Smarties ones.
Yeah, they're great fun, aren't they? Because they've got all the Smarties in the little dispenser at the bottom. Yeah, I haven't had one of those in ages.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna find an ice cream van today and get one.
Simple.
But classic.
I always think like I'm really lucky to be here. I know there's like, especially back at my school at home, like there's loads of people that would love the chance to come to Cambridge. I just feel like I got this opportunity, and if I had the chance to do it again, I definitely would.
It's not original, but history.
Wow.
Big jump.
Wow.
As captain, I have to say the boathouse. But in terms of outsider rowing, my favourite spot in the centre of Cambridge, weirdly, it's the roof of Webb's Court in Kings. Because my window didn't used to have a lock on it last year. I used to live in Webb's Court.
Yes.
And I was on the top floor, and there's like a little service trench, I guess, outside the window. And then it leads to a ladder that goes up to the roof. Last year, I used to, at night when the sun was setting and stuff, I'd get a cup of tea, I'd go out onto the roof, and I'd just sit, because there was a nice little balcony bit that was walled off. And you could just sit and just watch the sunset over like the chapel and the Backs. And it was always just a really nice view.
I know what I'm doing this evening. At the ice cream van, what would you pick?
I used to have an ice cream van when I worked at the zoo. I used to work in one.
What?
When there's hazelnut ice cream, 100%.
That's the one.
Like, you can't go wrong.
I went to a grammar school, state-funded grammar school. Where I come from, Lincolnshire, grammar schools are quite different from elsewhere in the country. I just feel I don't know what it is, but there just isn't the same like attachment of class culture to grammar schools, because in Lincolnshire in general there are very few schools relative to the population density, and so it's really more just of a, like, if you in any way care about your studies, like, you just end up going to the grammar school. It's not so much problems with class mobility, I don't think, social mobility in our region, but I'm very aware of, like, the privilege of going to a grammar school.
Like you said, you know, about you don't know what environment you're going to be into and what kind of people you're going to meet, but I would make the same decision again without the kind of fear of kind of what's going to happen. Ultimately, you find out that people are still very kind of down-to-earth people, very sort of normal people. I think a lot of the stereotypes that people kind of throw around, I mean, they're based in some sort of truth, obviously, but I think, more often than not, you find like-minded people.
My instinct is HSPS because I really like politics and social things, activism. But if I had a chance to have a complete redo and go down a bizarre path, if my brain would allow it and could do it, I'd go for medicine.
Ooh. Well, everywhere else I applied, I did English and history. So it would make sense for me to say history, but also I would love to just spend a day doing something like maths just to see how unhinged it was. Like, I wouldn't want to do it permanently, but I just want to see how, like, unpleasant it is as a course.
Just to be sure.
Yeah.
Like, just to get rid of those slight women in STEM fantasies.
What if I'm a STEM girly? You don't know.
I think there are probably a lot of people who are even more privileged than me in Cambridge, but it's that kind of thing I said, you know, about having people from different backgrounds, and you actually learn a lot more from mixing with different types of people.
Like, chocolate is variable. You can have good chocolate, you can have really bad chocolate. Vanilla, you can have some quite good vanilla. You can't really go wrong with vanilla. Strawberry, nah.
Women in STEM, TM.
Well, yeah, that's what I kind of want to be.
You don't know.
I mean, I hate maths, I hate blood, I hate everything that is like medicine, but
parallel universe.
I think I'd be a really good doctor.
I mean, I spend a lot of time at the queue at Jack's, which is the local ice cream shop. The bed is also nice, but just walking over the bridge from King's, when you walk and you see the chapel and you're coming back from the libraries, that's always lovely.
But in terms of minutes spent, Jack's Gelato queue.
Hell yeah, and money as well.
Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17?
Yes.
Would you? Why?
Yeah, because it's great.
Absolutely. I think I would always have chosen Oxbridge. I think, well, yes, because I would take the good and the bad all again. The beautiful, like, magic of this place is, I don't know, walking by the river and, you know, cycling around and, like, the cobbled streets, and you take that with the, you know, nightmarish sort of workload that you receive.
Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17?
Yes. I feel like I didn't choose Oxbridge, which is going to sound super weird. Like, it was my last choice of uni, and I ended up coming here because there was a pandemic, and I thought that they would be good about it, and they were going to have, the laughter.
Raspberry Ripple.
Very nice. Very nice. Any reasons why?
I like a fruity one. I like an ice cream that's like strawberries and cream, or like Raspberry Ripple.
Yes,
it's got
I agree.
Like a nice creamy bit to it, but also like a nice bit of like fruity flavour.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I actually came to the History and Politics Open Day in 2019 when I was applying. Wow. Philosophy seems quite hard. I'm definitely not doing any STEM.
Just narrow it down through process of elimination.
Yeah. I suppose maybe like history. Maddie seems to have a fun time.
That wasn't good.
Yeah.
Or law would be kind of cool, I think.
Probably like a Long Island iced tea, because it's fun and it's a mix of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All the alcohol.
Would you pick Oxbridge again if you were 17?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's just an experience that you can't get anywhere else. It's really hard to explain, but you step out your front door and you're just surrounded by all this like history and culture.
I want you to know that when I posed this question to Thomas about 2 weeks ago, he said vehemently no. So
really just the mood swing.
Although I've always, when I was younger, always wanted like that double cone one.
Oh yeah.
But I was never allowed it because also
Whippy, double, 2 flakes.
Like I would not be able to eat that.
No.
And no one wants a child who's just had that much ice cream and then bounces off the walls. Yeah. But I feel like I should get that for the novelty.
It's an important rite of passage to get the things you wanted.
One.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
Maybe
with
that.
Lots of flakes.
Every flake in the box.
All of the flakes.
Yeah.
A fireball whiskey, a shot of fireball whiskey. Because it looks like a good idea when you're going for it, but as soon as you've had it, oh no.
Regret.
Yeah, the instant regret.
I too was very terrified of the posh Tories, but now we are here and it's fine.
I was going to say I'm still terrified of them.
I'm still terrified. I mean, yeah, I think the truth of the matter is actually there's not many of those at King's.
King's is probably a little bit of a bubble, I think.
Yeah.
That like self-affirming moment of like, wow, I'm sat here by the river reading gorgeous prose, and yeah, so that's
gorgeous girls, read gorgeous prose.
And even if you are from like a background that isn't typically like Cambridge, like you get there, like I said, on your brain. You get there on your brain, and if your brain can get you there, like it can be annoying at times, but at the end of the day, like everyone I think can come here and deserves a place here.
If they have lemon, it's always gonna be lemon. Lemon or mango, hardcore. I'm a sorbet girl.
I think in Cambridge you can't go past Jack's. I think Jack's is it's got a very good reputation in Cambridge, and I think a lot of people enjoy going there. £2.50 for a massive scoop of ice cream sounds like it's a bit pricey, but it's some of the best ice cream I've ever tasted. And as an Italian, and our connections with gelato, I can safely say it's very, very good.
Italian seal of approval here.
The seal of approval.
Even though sometimes I hate the people and I hate my subject and I just hate everything about life.
I went to a grammar school. It's all kind of in a state school. It's all
something.
Yeah, it's all kind of it's all Greek to me.
What kind of school did you go to?
I went to a state school. I went to the 3rd year of my school ever, even though you might not be able to hear it in my voice, but and it was quite a bad school, I'd say. And I felt like I had to work independently to do well, if that makes sense, which I really like.
I went to a class. Not only went to a class, it was a syntax class. And because I'd done like programming languages, I understood it quite well. I knew what was going on. But the other people in the supervision obviously saw me walk in, someone who'd not been in a single lecture, sat down, managed to riff off what the supervisor was saying and answer like quite a lot of the questions that he was throwing at us. And then just disappeared and never came back.
I think my favourite... Oh gosh, this is so tricky. I would say my favourite spot in Cambridge, because it's such attached to like really gorgeous memories, would be between Cofen and Newnham Village.
Right.
There's the Paradise. It's called like Paradise Nature Reserve.
Oh, I love it.
And last summer I was doing a research internship at King's, and so I was, basically alone. There wasn't really anybody else in college. And I remember I walked out there one day because I was just like, well, there's nowhere else for me to be. So I went and sat by the river and read The Pursuit of Love by Nancy Mitford.
Oh, great
is
one.
One of my favourites.
Do you know what? I'd absolutely pick Cambridge again. But I think I would choose different papers because the way my course works, like literally before I came here, I had to pick my 6 papers that covered the next 2 years.
Wow.
And I made mistakes. Paper 23, I'm talking about you.
I don't know what that says about it. That's really sad.
And then I went to a grammar school year 7 to year 13.
Okay.
It was
full range.
Full range.
I just like that little lane going round by G. David's.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. It's not really the graveyard I like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the lane.
St. Edward's Passage.
Yeah. St. Edward's Passage.
Second year, a lot of the stuff is new, but also the departments still hate you because you're doing subjects other than physics as well. Second year is the worst year of physics because they're just mean. The department aren't nice. But then you get to third year and the courses are already interesting because you've done all the sort of foundational work in the previous 2 years.
In case you didn't know, Thomas is the stereotypical rower.
Yes.
Not so stereotypical, maybe.
I'd love to do MML but I can't, like, I physically don't have the capabilities to do it. So, like, if I was able to speak different languages, I think their course sounds great. I just can't speak different languages.
Yeah, it's kind of crucial.
I'd love to be a French and Russian girly, but, like, that's literally impossible. I can't speak a word of either.
You're a Russian girly without knowing the Russian. Do you think the boys are a curse or a beneficial introduction? That's a different, deep question.
I think that certain individuals would maybe consider them a curse. I personally think they're just super embarrassing. Why are you as a person hiring an electric scooter? I just feel like they're quite cringe, but not in a good way.
I myself love you boys. Would you choose Oxbridge again if you were 17?
I would.
You would?
I feel like I really would.
What type of drink would your course be in a bar?
Ooh.
Employability.
If you say come thinking you want to do one thing, and then you get here and you realise, oh, actually, I'm not really keen to do that, got this other thing. There's not this instant like, oh, well, sorry, you can't do it. They're always like, oh, well, you still might be able to do it. Like, let's give you a test and see how you are in it.
Okay, this is obviously like a double flake.
Okay.
And we turned around and I looked out the door of the sixth form room.
Yeah.
And I saw this kid clutching his hand just run past. And I was like, oh my God, that is someone's finger on the fence. In Freshers Week, that was how I broke the ice with everyone I met.
Because nothing breaks the ice like macabre horror.
Yeah.
If you have like a problem or like an underlying thing coming into Oxbridge, then Oxbridge very much like roots it out and finds it and potentially just makes it worse.
I relate to that one.
So it's definitely an incredibly intense experience. And I read somewhere else, probably on Student Room, that you get like sort of the highest highs and lowest lows. But on balance, yes, I think I would. Because the experiences you get and the people you meet and the friends you make are pretty unparalleled.
It's a place to make sure you're choosing because you actually think you'll like it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are lots of people that definitely will. And
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, 100%, like I'm willing to work a lot and I'm willing to like, I don't know, be quite stressed out quite a bit, then it's the place for you. So that sounds so sad. And have a great time and be in a beautiful college and everything.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, for comparison, Lola said either water or champagne, no in between.
That's a very good answer. Yeah.
What is your favourite spot in Cambridge?
Castle Mound.
You're going to have to say that a little bit slower, my love.
Castle Mound.
What is Castle Mound?
Castle Mound is a hill, a mound.
Okay, Ribena and vodka, the combination of childishness and depression. Wonderful.
Yes, yeah.
Jesus Green. I think it just caters for all needs. In the winter, it's actually still quite nice because you can walk by the river. Then with the beautiful weather in the summer, it's the go-to place for barbecues, responsible drinking. See Sunday when all the Cambridge University students get together. So
irresponsible drinking.
One of the coordinators on the course is planning on doing a paper on geographies of hope for the final year sometime. Not for my year.
No.
Yet. Geography isn't hopeful enough yet.
He was.
Hello.
Are you on Phil?
Yes. Hang on one second. Yes, go for it. That is the message I want you lot to take from this.
this college.
BDSM this college. Bye for now.